I love fantasy, of all its multitudes and varieties. From the light-hearted comedic tones of a show like Konosuba to a serious, hardcore setting like Game of Thrones, to something potentially even darker and more out there like the story of Black Souls. I love D&D and would do anything to get that amazing feeling of sitting down with friends around the table and rolling dice while trying your hardest to keep a straight face because someone just won't stop making hilarious jokes while you try to properly DM the world you've worked on for the last 2 months. I love writing, and I did a whole bunch of it for years. Though none of my works actually saw the light of day because they were all just the stinky idiotic ramblings of a teen who was too obsessed with Bleach. Except one. A Fate Tsukihime crossover fic which I think is really good up until today, and it's still posted on fanfiction.net with over 90,000 views. It would unironically make for a fun read for anyone familiar with the franchise, if only I actually finished it. But I digress. I've been on a sort of long hiatus away from writing for a decently long time, in which I actually started this YouTube channel, and had a whole bunch of fun experimenting with different types of videos and contents, and honestly, it was one of the best decisions in my life. Even if my audience is rather limited, considering I keep hopping games and content faster than girls in my old high school swapped boyfriends, I still have so much fun knowing that other people enjoy my content and want more. So, the creative bone in me started roaring again recently, and I thought, you know what, maybe it's about time I got serious about this. I sat down in front of my keyboard, looked up my screen, and opened a Google document in front of me. And before I knew it, I was already nearing the 200 pages mark. It was finally happening. I am writing a light novel. So what did I actually write about? Well, the general idea was very simple. At first, I wanted to grab multiple character stereotypes from different already existing shows and slap them into a D&D party. See where it goes from there. The setting I was going for was high fantasy, so in my head, I made up this kingdom where the hierarchy is split between commoners and nobles. But unlike where every fantasy setting and even real history, there is no real friction between those two factions. The main reason this split even exists is because the nobles are all born with inherent magic, and the commoners are not. All of those with noble blood are birthed with a unique type of magic that differs depending on the family or sometimes even the person themselves. Due to this, the nobles have taken it upon themselves to establish and rule the kingdom, which they named Agnolia, after the first king who ascended the throne, Agnol of House Lac. At first, Agnolia was a decently large city, but as time passed, nearby villages and smaller provinces that spanned further south joined its territory, until it covered up a genuinely big part of the continent it's on and established proper borders. Generations into the future, a small fishing and mining village called Water's Edge would house the beginning of our story, situated in the northeast borders of Agnolia. Hanging on a natural arc into the ocean and marked by a beautiful waterfall, it had access to both fishing waters and a cave system rich with a valuable metal known as mithril. Water's Edge would be a valuable small township to Agnolia, with the sovereign responsible for the area giving it apt attention and making sure operations there consistently go smoothly by dealing with any trouble through sending knights to bolster security when needed, hosting carnivals, and personally visiting to ensure the people are living the good life while also working their hardest to the betterment of Agnolia. This sovereign, named Hughes the Wise by many, is the current king's right-hand man and closest advisor. There is much more to him than that, however, and his story will unfold as the novel continues. His daughter, a lady named Teresa Hughes, but more known across the country as the Angel of Agnolia, both for her striking beauty and thunderous power that was always directed towards smiting evildoers and criminals, is one of the main characters. Her unique ability of divine verses allows her to manipulate the causality of things, which has a variety of applications as you might think, such as dealing with wounds that cannot be normally healed or restoring items that are destroyed beyond repair. Of course, There is more to her abilities than just that, but you have to read the novel to know what else Teresa has in store. She has striking blonde hair, deep azure eyes, and pale ethereal skin. She usually wears fancy dresses and spends a long time in front of the mirror making sure she looks presentable before leaving her room. Her personality is loosely based on characters like Luvia Etfelt from Fates and Carlotta Montelli from Wuthering Waves. She is often depicted as the strong, obnoxious noblewoman who knows her worth but is sweet and caring to those that she finds endearing and deserving of her time and emotions. Teresa Hughes recently got engaged to a nobleman who was a classmate of hers within the Academy of Magic, one who was of similar renown to her and had been part of her life for a few years now. Dilphais Ortanis, a tall, mysterious man with tanned skin, black hair, and golden eyes. He usually dresses in a simple black and white tuxedo simply because he thinks it suits him best. For around 5 years, he and Teresa had been hunting down evildoers and dismantling criminal organizations, thwarting any plans against the king or the kingdom before they could even be put into action. His unique ability, called Hex Curse Magic, allows him to manipulate the souls of his enemies, which is as overpowered as it sounds. He can do things like soul tear someone and stuff them into a teddy bear, or simply send it to hell to suffer for all eternity. Once again, this isn't all he can do, and you'll simply have to read the novel to learn of his other abilities and features. For their brutality and efficiency in working together, Dilphais and Teresa were nicknamed the Demon and the Angel by their peers, and eventually warmed up to one another enough to get properly engaged. The last main character of our story is called Uragol Sigurtain, a young lady who had her life turned upside down by a traumatic experience, and I just realized I cannot say much more to not spoil the entire first chapter. What I can say, however, is that she is the proper first protagonist of the story, and her appearance changes through the chapters. She has some points in strength, charisma, with high wisdom and low dexterity, with a static 10 or her intelligence score. In terms of personality, she slightly resembles Asta from Black Clover in terms of her impulsiveness and sheer willpower, but is thankfully nowhere as loud. Yura is also wise enough to plan ahead and listen to those who are wiser than she is. With our main cast introduced, the structure of the novel will be episodic in nature, with each chapter focusing on a main struggle, giving everyone their moments but mainly focused on one of the main characters each time, letting the readers get to know them better and hopefully grow attached to them, because creating a main cast that is lovable and cool is in my opinion the best way to drive home the future struggles and encounters. The dynamic is pretty fun in my opinion, though you'll have to judge it for yourself once the novel itself comes out soon. The magic system is heavily inspired by D&D, where you have wizards who can learn spells the old-fashioned way, sorcerers who are born with magical abilities or gain them through special means but still have to refine them through training, and warlocks who make pact magic with otherworldly entities, though the latter is pretty taboo and rare. The Academy of Magic itself is a place where all those interested in magic can come to learn or refine their already existing prowess, and it serves as a connection point between nobles and commoners, since they both have to attend the same classes despite their differences in birthrights. Of course, having proper villains and important story moments which highlight character growth and plot development is also very crucial to any tale, mine and yours included. In your case, the villain is the like and subscribe button, so make sure to defeat the BBEG of your story by pressing the like button and subscribing to the channel, also ringing the bell of awakening to establish your dominance. Either way, I certainly hope this little teaser video got you interested in what I have written thus far, and if you are, well, you can join our community on Discord to submit your suggestions and help me brainstorm ideas for the future. Also, if you want to fund the physical release of the book, be sure to visit my Patreon or Ko-fi through the links down below to secure yourself a copy of the first volume when it is done. This was Imaginary Watcher, and I'll see you guys around.